You are tuned in to Big Boys and Body Slams, three goofballs that talk about wrestling. Throwback and current day pay-per-view reviews. Follow us on Twitter at BB and BS Podcast. And while you're at it, check out our merch store and our Patreon page. All the links will be in the description below. Enjoy the show. What is up, Hulkamaniacs? And welcome to another episode of Big Boys and Body Slams. My name is Zach. Way over here. You can't see because there's no video, but way over here, just trust me, he's way over here.
Special guest.
Special guest. We let him out of the closet again. Professor Joe, to give him his rations and even allow him to speak. Professor Joe, how you doing, buddy?
Well. It is I, the Archival Adonis, the man who loves to rock and roll all night and party every day, Joe, the Professor Shea.
Thanks for joining us again, Joe. And over here, he can't even contain himself. We've got Luke.
That's my brother. He just did that.
He did. And we got Kyle.
Hey, guess where me and Zach are going to be Monday?
Monday Night Raw.
We're going to be with
Raw?
our baby tonight as we're going to watch Jeff Jarrett defeat Elias for the WWE
I'm
Championship.
so pissed.
We're going to what is stacking up to be like an actually kind of eventful episode of Raw.
Yeah, my dad,
We've got-
Stan, friend of the podcast, family of the
Came
podcast,
through.
was like, hey, we're going to Raw. And I was like, well, okay. And Zach's like, I want to go. I'm like, okay.
And he got his Big Boys and Body
I
Slam
know, I
shirt
was going to
just in
say,
time.
I saw that on the Facebook page today. It's
Yes.
styling and profiling.
I got
Yes.
mine as well, too. So
Stan looks
we'll both
good.
be wearing ours. Kyle hasn't ordered one yet.
Yeah.
'cause he's not
Kyle,
even
you
sure.
want to wear mine?
You know what, though? Oh, yeah, that's an option.
That is an option.
He doesn't want to, but it's an option.
It's an option.
Nice.
You know what you could do if you yourself wanted a shirt? You could go to bigboysbodyslams.storeinterview.com and pick
Only
yourself
one
up
E.
Big Boys and Body Slams.
That was an
shirt.
extreme segue.
Thank you. Also today, before we get going, we're doing an ECW show. ECW Heatwave 98. You may remember, what is it, about a month and a half ago, we did
99.
Heatwave 99. So this is kind of a...
The predecessor.
go back
And then
look
we
at
have another ECW show coming up next month.
Yep.
And at Anarchy Rules 1999.
Of course, it's RULZ.
Yes, because Z
One
is
Z.
cool.
One
Yes,
Z.
1Z.
Yes.
Before we get going, I'm just going to tell you we are
Task.
brought to you by patreon.com/bigboys and body slams. Patreon.com, against all popular belief, is not a donation platform. No. No. It is a membership platform. You can become a member of our Patreon page, and you get some really cool perks back, including early access to our show at the $1 level, guys. $1 gets you early access to
Just donate a freaking
all of our
dollar.
shows, except for the live ones, because
You
obviously
can't even buy a McChicken
those
with
are
that
live.
anymore. Just pay the dollar.
Just pay the dollar. It goes all the way up to even having custom sponsorship deals at the very top level. And before that, the $8 level, $8 a month gets you a new show, a show we've never recorded, a bonus show every month. Big Boys and Body Slams at the movies, where we review a wrestling-themed movie. And wrestling-themed could mean anything. It could mean a movie that's about wrestling. It could mean a movie that has a wrestler in it.
Like See No Evil.
Exactly.
Oh.
Which is that's in there. That's WWF
the Condemned,
Studios, man.
baby. The Condemned.
I actually like that movie.
I do too. It's terrible, but I
And
love
again,
it.
if you do want to see what that's all about in March, I think we have Ready to Rumble coming up for you, our first ever Big Boys and Body Slams at the Movies review. That is for everybody, if you're on Patreon or not. We just want to show you what you're going to be missing out on. So look forward to that. Again, that is patreon.com/Big Boys and Body Slams. We think it's worth your time, your effort, your money. So become a member today. Links are in the description below. With that said,
Wait,
should we get into the show?
Let
Yeah.
me throw out two more things real quick.
Oh, yeah, go for it, please.
First of all, our live streams coming up for pay-per-views will be on Twitch now, not YouTube.
Yep. We did say that in the live stream, but it was buried in there.
I just want it to be out there, and we will not be doing a live stream for WrestleMania.
Yeah, we decided, we made an executive decision. So,
Because-
WrestleMania would just be going up on Monday, not as a live stream, but just as a regular show Monday evening, because, man, that show's going to be going really late.
That's going to be an Royal Rumble was a
7
7-hour
hours, yeah.
show, and then
WrestleMania's probably going to be 8.
yeah, so it's
Just kill me.
it's too
I
much
know,
time.
I know. So, we got day jobs, so we got to kind of get up early the next morning. So we're going to just bring you that on Monday afternoon. And also, one other thing before we get into it, next Friday, I want everybody listening to this to tune in to twitch.tv/Big Boys and Body Slams at 9 p.m. Pacific, so you can see the first ever episode of Big Boys and Impact Wrestling, an Impact Wrestling review show. It's right on Twitch. So all you got to do is go from Impact Wrestling's Twitch to our Twitch, and you're going to see myself reviewing everything that happened on Impact. I know it's going to be
gorgeous face.
I know for a fact there's a title change, and that's all I'm going to say on next week's show. So
Also
you're
support
gonna wanna
Impact
tune in.
Wrestling. Support Impact Wrestling. They need some love.
Support your local indies.
You can
any
watch it
of
free
them.
on Twitch. So with that said, shall we get into today's show?
Do it.
Speaking of indies, ECW Heatwave 98.
Today we're looking at Heatwave 98, as Kyle said, coming to us on August 2nd, 1998 from the Hara Arena in Dayton, Ohio. We got 4,400 people in attendance, so a
We do.
pretty good gate for ECW. On
Joey
this
Styles
evening.
lied. He said there was like 5,000 plus.
Did he?
He lied.
Cage Side Seats told me the real attendance, so they can't hide. They can't hide. from me.
Wikipedia also told me the
There
real
you go.
attendance.
So Joey Styles is right in the ring to kind of welcome the crowd to the show. He introduces Shane Douglas, the current ECW champion, who's going to be Styles' color commentator.
Who is accompanied by the queen of extreme end bosom shots, Francine.
Yes, so Francine,
She's wearing nothing.
like next to nothing. She's wearing as
Yeah.
little as you can get away with, I feel like, on television. So she saunters down to the ring with Shane, who's selling his arm because Taz has been
Taz hurt him.
So
going after him.
He actually heard it.
to that, so one of the nice things about the WWE network is you can watch the weekly shows, and in ECW's case, I think it was like bi-weekly or something like that lead up to this. And there was one, I try to do that for some of the pay-per-views, and there's one where they show Shane's arm, like he doesn't have that wrap on it, and he's got stitches like in the front part of his arm and the back part of his arm, and it was gnarly. It was super gnarly.
Yeah. So so he comes out wearing like this huge arm brace because Taz has of course been brutalizing him with these arm bars every week and did an oopsie and shredded up Shane Douglas's arm. So he's going to be on
Well,
color
survive
commentary.
if he lets you. He's not kidding,
exactly.
man.
So he's going to be on color commentary, and I have to say, like, I don't know if Douglas is a heel or a face. He's with the Triple Threat at this point, but the crowd is lit for Douglas when he comes out. Like, they love this dude.
He is the franchise.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he is just, everyone loves him. It
There's
doesn't
just-
matter at this point.
There's
Like,
mainstays that no matter, they could do no wrong. They're just going to be loved.
Well, and something I noticed about the show too was like the whole heel face dynamic in general was kind of just like go out the
Whatever.
window. Like RVD later in the and I wrote it down, like the crowd obviously loves him and he has a connection like I've never seen in any facet of wrestling, but like he's very much playing kind of like an arrogant, cocky heel, like, even with his own team. So that you see the heel face dynamic kind of get played with, which was interesting throughout the show. So Douglas comes out, he cuts a promo. He's excited that Bam Bam gets to beat up Taz. And then the crowd, just in classy fashion, starts a show your tits chant at Francine.
Love.
So you know what kind of crowd you're in for an ECW show here.
And then Joey gets to see him.
And then Joey makes a
Joey does more than get to see him.
Yeah,
so Joey makes some kind of snide remark.
Can I say it?
Yeah, please do. I didn't write it down.
So he told Shane how good he looked, and
Uh-huh.
then Shane said, "Yeah, you don't look too bad yourself." And Joey says, "Thanks. I bought a new suit. It's double-breasted, like Francine."
Oh yeah, and then so Francine says the only difference is I don't think your suit cost you $6,000. And then she shoves his face into her chest, her bosom, and that ends that cut. And then it like cuts abruptly, like to the intro of the show.
And Shane's doing color the show.
Yeah, I said that. Thank you. though.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So then they cut to the intro of the show. Again, it's just a standard ECW intro. Very, very late 90s ham and cheese.
I do love me some ham and cheese.
Oh, yeah. And then right after that, we go right into the first match, which is going
Apparently,
to be...
there was a pre-show match that didn't air.
Oh,
where
what was it?
The hardcore chair swinging freaks, aka Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten, beat the FBI, Little Guido, and Tracy Smothers.
Ooh, that
Interesting.
could have been
So
good.
it's BS that wasn't.
Yeah.
little,
on there,
little
but
dark match action. huh?
Whatever.
So we do get into our first match after the ECW intro plays, and it is going to be Just Incredible, accompanied to the ring with a whole gaggle of people. He's got Jason, Chastity, and Nicole Bass, and I have to say,
I have
he's
a
facing
quote.
Jerry Lynn, by the way.
I have a quote.
Is it they should call Nicole Bass Russia because she's so much bigger than China?
Yeah.
So I loved that.
Oh,
So
yeah, I
Nicole,
did too.
like
Oh,
Nicole
yeah.
Bass's entire presence on this show is to be like the China, right?
Right.
Like
Even bigger,
she's
yeah.
like the response to the WWF bringing China in.
And WWF wound up bringing Nicole Bass in after this at one point.
And if you're not familiar with Nicole Bass, she is a very, very large woman, bodybuilder, and
Jacked.
she really is like probably has twice the muscle mass as China.
She was a Howard Stern staple for a while.
and unfortunately, she's passed on since then.
And unfortunately, Joey Styles made a few transvestite jokes.
yeah, more than a few.
Well, and I think that they kind of played that up in the match a little
Oh,
bit
for
too.
sure, which we'll get into. But so yeah, Nicole Bass, and I do love Joey Styles said they should call Nicole Bass Russia because she's so much bigger than China. I liked that. That was kind of a fun jab.
He also said that Chastity had one hell of a do going on, and it was like having one hand on the hairdryer and one foot in the bathtub because her hair was so crazy.
Thanks, Joey Styles. He was kind of out of control on this show.
Well, he's a one-man wrecking crew.
always
is.
He
Oh, yeah.
has to be.
So it's worth noting he's facing Jerry Lynn here, and this is the finals in a series of matches they've been having. The winner wins bragging rights.
A grudge match.
So it's a grudge match, essentially, yeah. So right as the bell rings, there's some Just an Asshole chants, which I'm into that all the time. The men trade arm drags and tie-ups. Really, really cool sequence to open the match. Man, Jerry Lynn, and I noticed this at this point, like, and I was telling Kyle this because we were kind of watching the shows at similar times last night. And, man, Jerry Lynn, like, I wouldn't be surprised if you asked Kenny Omega like who his early influences are.
Dude.
If Jerry Lynn's not at or near the top of that
they're
list.
so very
Because
similar.
I see so much of Kenny Omega in Jerry Lynn's work here, like even down to like the style of the ring attire and like the way they work in the ring. And I think Kenny Omega's maybe a little
hair,
bit bigger than
yeah.
Lynn, but like there is like
And
I
the
never noticed
movesets,
it. I never noticed it until last night. But there's like so much of Omega that I see in
I
Lynn.
would argue that Omega's more showy than Lynn was. Lynn is such a
Well, yeah.
such a straight up just.
But Jerry Lynn
kick
didn't
ass.
really.
Jerry Lynn
he
didn't
didn't have the charisma.
I was gonna say
That
he
was
didn't
the
have
thing that always
charisma
held him
of
back.
Omega, but I still think Jerry Lynn might be one of the maybe most underrated ever.
Oh, easily.
Sure.
And
He
I-
was so good.
As I said
Sure.
to our chat the other day, I said we're gonna probably use the
saying that
word
a lot.
underrated a lot here.
Yeah. Well, Jerry Lynn also, I mean, to give the guy credit, he was one of the founders of the X Division.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Impact. Him and AJ and Daniels and Saban and those guys. And I don't know. He reinvented his career in Impact, and by doing the same stuff
Is
he
he
did in
still
ECW.
working for Impact?
No,
No,
I think
he's a
retired,
referee.
and he's fully retired.
Oh,
now.
okay.
He's a referee
Okay,
now.
interesting.
Because he refed All In.
Oh, that's right. He did. That's
No,
right.
I thought I think I saw that he's a producer for ROH.
Oh, okay.
But he's also a referee.
Okay. I
But
got you.
he refereed it all In.
He was 34 here, just so you know.
Wow.
Just Incredible
Okay.
was 24.
Okay. Oh,
Young
really?
AF,
Wow.
Yeah.
So again, we start up a nice.
Aldo Montoya. Do you guys know that?
What?
Who?
That Justin
that he was in
Credible
WWF.
was Aldo Montoya in
What?
WWF.
I
Yeah.
never knew that.
That's why. So sometimes, and I didn't hear it in this match, but sometimes when he, in his early days when he was wrestling, and because he was a great heel, or Justin Credible was a great heel, and so you'll hear the crowd say, Aldo.
Oh, that's funny. Well, also, Just Incredible kind of just reminds me of like a more like charismatic X-Pac kind of like.
That's why they're buddies.
And they were in X Factor together.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So again, we get a nice arm drag tie-up spot as the bell rings. Lynn is in the corner and just starts getting the hell chopped out of him by Just Incredible, and then Lynn reverses it, gets some corner chops of his own.
Oh, he slapped the piss out of him.
Oh yeah. They were really getting after each other here. And then there's a tip up in the corner, which leads into a Lynn roll up for a near fall, and then a crossbody for a Lynn near fall again, and then a tilt-a-whirl head scissors to Credible, and then Lynn clotheslines him out of the ring. Lynn gets up top and then hits a diving plancha to Credible on the outside.
Bro,
really,
he's flying.
really smooth sequence by Jerry Lynn there. I loved that.
He's going all over the place.
Back in the ring for a Lynn near fall, and then Jerry Lynn. This is when I wrote, like, really started noticing the Omega sequences, especially when they were brawling outside of the ring here. But back inside, there's a vertical facebuster by Lynn for a near fall, and then one thing I noticed here is like, so Bass and Chastity were like on the other side of the hard cam, like, and the crowd was just giving.
They were trying to fight the
Oh,
crowd.
God.
They were just like getting into it with the crowd at this point, which was fun to see. Like the ECW crowd, I don't think this was the hottest of ECW crowds, but they had their moments.
Well, they were out. The thing is, too, they're outside of Philadelphia. Here.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
that's a
something
good
to
point.
keep in
Yeah,
mind.
that's a good point.
They're not at the ECW arena. They're completely. They're touring at this point, which
That's
is
a good
actually
point.
kind of
Philly's just
insane.
a bunch of crazy ass.
Yeah, that's a
people.
good point. So right after that,
Philly.
we get an inverted DDT by Credible, and then Credible gets the advantage after that. Hits a running knee to Lynn in the corner while Jason holds a chair. Brutal looking spot there. Then we get a deadlift set out powerbomb from the corner onto a chair for a Just Incredible near fall. Lynn gets sent outside. The ref is distracted now by Chastity, which allows Bass and Jason to double team him and beat up Lynn outside. And then Credible comes back, and now they're trading chops outside. And then Credible, I love this. He steals a fan's beer.
And spills most of it.
It spills the majority of it, and then smashes the rest
Well,
in
he like
Credible's face.
crawled to it too.
And like, I think the fan was gonna go after him because you can like just see like on the right side of the frame, like a security
Security?
guard like aggressively going after the fan.
Can
you
I
know
be-
how much I paid for that?
You don't
I was
steal
gonna
a
say,
man's
can I be
beer.
honest? I'd be super pissed.
Oh yeah, I'm
if
sure
I
they
sp-
comped him.
If
one,
I
though.
spent $9 on a
And then
4.5
Justin Credible
ounce
steals it.
beer, and then Justin Credible of all people steal it.
To be fair, it's probably $5 back then.
True.
I'm sure they
I wouldn't
comped
be
him one.
pissed,
I'm sure
man.
they comped
I would
him one,
not be
though.
pissed.
As long as they comped him,
I'm sure they
a
comped him
wrestler
one.
a wrestler gets involved like in the spot. Like I feel like especially the ECW crowd wanted to be as involved as possible.
And I guess
Hence
I'm
them
sure
throwing
that
a
they-
million fucking
Yeah.
chairs into the
I just don't want to spend $100 on a beer and have it spill.
I feel it.
$100.
It gone from 9 to 100. So then they're back in the ring now. Lynn goes to send Credible into the corner, but he kind of skins the cat and then actually lands on his feet on the apron, which is a nice show of athleticism. And then he clotheslines Lynn. And then Credible goes up top. He goes for an axe handle attempt, but he gets caught and then flapjacked by Lynn. There's a modified sidewalk slam for a Just Incredible near fall. And then a sunset flip by Lynn, but he can't get him all the way over for the pinfall. And then there's a sit-out powerbomb for a Lynn near fall right after that. And then a top rope Hurricane Rana to Credible by Lynn for another near fall. And then Lynn goes up top, goes for Hurricane Rana, but it gets reversed into a Just Incredible powerbomb. I feel like you're just asking for it if you try and do a Hurricane Rana from the top to somebody. Like I feel like most of the time
reversal?
that gets reversed into a powerbomb. And that's a near fall though. And then Credible produces another chair. And of course, he ends up getting DDT'd onto it like instantly. Like we all saw that coming, right?
Love it.
And then Chastity puts Credible's foot on the bottom rope to break up a pinfall attempt. And then Lynn produces a table outside the ring, puts Credible on the top turnbuckle, and then Hurricane Rana to Credible
This is awesome.
from the top turnbuckle to the table outside the ring.
Yes,
Love
that was
it.
Such a
That was
great-
awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed that spot. And then the crowd, the crowd was in a frenzy at that point. They're back in the ring, and the ref, I didn't like this part. So they're back in the ring, and Lynn's going for a pinfall attempt, and the referee is counting and then stops the count because he gets distracted. What the hell, dude? Like, count the 3. You can't do that. That's not a way to do your job.
Did somebody even touch him in that spot?
No,
I don't think so.
Chastity got on the apron, and he like stopped the count to like yell at her. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? The match is over.
Yeah,
that
I
made
feel
the
like
ref
that
look
has
like a
happened before,
loser.
but no, it's
Yeah,
stupid.
Yeah.
That's very old 80s, like
Yeah.
like Mr. Fuji getting
Yeah.
up on involved in it. Yeah,
Exactly. So I was like, okay, well, that makes the ref look like a doofus. So then Jason intervenes at this point, but Lynn takes him out, and then Bass comes in, and then Lynn hits her in the dick, I guess.
I put dick trauma question mark.
They were definitely playing up the tranny thing.
She like sells it like she like has balls, and then she
and
goes
Joey
down.
Styles even says right in the nuts. I
Yeah.
don't care what anybody says.
Exactly. So I'm sure that was good for Nicole Bass's confidence. And then hits her with a chair, and she's gone. And now Chastity is in, and then Incredible blindsides Lynn, and then Lynn. Incredible holds
Chastity
Lynn.
gets a tombstone, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
she
not there
does.
yet, but
Oh, sorry, Dad.
So Credible's holding Lynn, and then Chastity goes for a dick kick, and then Lynn just jumps, and Credible takes the brunt of the dick trauma there, and then Chastity eats a tombstone as
I spoiled.
as Luke alluded to.
Spoiler alert.
And Incredible gets up on the middle rope, hits the middle rope. That's Incredible, which is a tombstone for the pin. And the series win. The heel gets the win in 14 and a half minutes.
was it middle rope or was it top rope?
I think it was
top rope.
Was it
No,
top
it
rope?
was top rope.
Wow.
It was
wow.
top
fucking
rope.
tombstone.
Wow.
from
It was
the top
It was
rope,
amazing,
dude.
So I really liked this match a lot. Really good opening match. I did think some of the booking towards the end, I don't know it's ECW booking, right? But some of the booking towards the end was a little iffy, particularly just that spot where the ref stops his count. Made him look like a dutz. I still thought it was a good match, though. I gave it 3.5 stars. Really good, yeah.
I gave it 3 1/4. I thought it was pretty good. Good way to start off the show. It was a hot start. There was just some things that there's some like slow spots that just kind of took my attention out of the match, where just nothing was happening, and then the refs' incompetence really hurt my enjoyment as well.
I would go 3.5 as well. This to me is the perfect way you want to start a show. You want it hot and fast. And a couple of things. One thing I will say is, if the ref is Jim Molyneux, because I think it was, he does redeem himself later in the
Yes,
pay-per-view.
and you're correct. It is the same. ref as the
And
main
one of the
event.
other things I really liked is Joey Styles, and he does this a couple of different times throughout the show, but he makes the difference. He says, we're wrestling, we're not sports
Yeah.
entertainment, and really hyping the idea that they're a wrestling show.
And he tries so hard to, diss WWE and to like distinguish himself.
I like every chance he can.
Every
too.
chance.
And the talent does that a bit too.
Yeah.
What do you think of the match?
I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was, really hot opener, and Jerry Lynn and Just Incredible, man, are really, really good.
I can watch him wrestle all day.
Yeah, and I think that Just Incredible just was kind of marred by his own demons.
Yeah,
I think that was the only thing that really held him back, because
I agree.
he was super talented, and I think that's why he didn't really last long in WWE, right? Was because he had all those alcohol and drug issues,
Yeah, he had
which he just
personal-
recently took care of.
Yeah,
Just Incredible?
Yeah.
Nay, he hasn't taken care of them.
Oh,
yeah. Didn't he just get like arrested?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
well,
just
he
got-
pretended that he took care of him.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
he did, and then he relapsed and was been back and forth in the jail.
But the tombstone from the top rope,
that was amazing.
WWE would never, ever, ever,
Oh,
ever.
that's
ever,
how you
ever
break
allow
your
that.
neck.
That is
Yeah.
how you. That is how you paralyze somebody.
that's one of the things. Sorry, Luke.
And that's a 24-year-old Just Incredible.
I know.
So Jerry Lynn had to trust the hell out of that man.
I loved it though.
It's such an interesting difference in what ECW is putting on at this time compared to what the other two companies are doing. I mean, it's obvious where the other two started stealing from, and why they did.
Right.
And these guys were doing things, and Joey was making move calls that nobody had heard of at this
Joey
point.
Styles' play-by-play was on point this whole show.
And I was going to make a point too early on that this is really almost an FMW and SWA, or excuse me, a FMW and War Super Show kind of, because you get a lot of talent out of Japan here.
Yeah.
Starting in the next match, actually, with Lance Storm.
Yeah, and then you got a lot of Japanese talent as well in the matches after that, which was interesting. So after the match, the trainers come out. They're turning to Lynn, who's really selling the effects of that tombstone off the top. And then, did your guys' feed do this too, when it just like fades out and then like suddenly cuts to the next match?
Yes.
I really want to know what happened in between those two spots.
I think it was just an ECW cut. They did a lot of that quick exchange.
And so, we cut directly to the next match, which is going to be Lance Storm versus Chris Candido, with Kyle and Luke's favorite person, Tammy Lynn, who you might know as Sunny,
Sonny killed Chris.
in Candido's corner.
Tammy Lynn, bitch.
Actually, no, that was Tammy Lynn Bitch was...
No, that's Dawn Marie,
Dawn
bitch,
Marie.
you're thinking.
Oh, yeah.
No, but they called her that. They called her Tammy Lynn Bitch when she first started.
Really?
Because
she was Sitch here.
No. They called Dawn Marie Tammy Lynn Bitch as the...
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Against, because there was
no
a
idea.
feud between Candido and... the feud between Candido and Storm. And when Dawn Marie was coming out with Storm, they gave her the name... Tammy Lynn Bitch to offset Sitch.
Okay.
Can I make a point before this match, though?
Yeah.
Do it, Dad.
I think Lance Storm, everywhere he went, was never appreciated as much as he should have.
Underutilized.
He's so
totally
good.
Oh, man, he was so
underutilized.
good. Yeah.
He was really, really an excellent wrestler.
So I do love how Chris Candido and Tammy Lynn come out to like a barely indistinguishable version of Highway to Hell. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like legally different's the best kind of different, and that like was what this was, because like the chord progression, it was like an instrumental version of Highway to Hell essentially.
That's all it was, dude. Yeah,
I loved
for
it.
real.
We got another one of those later too. So Tammy Lynn,
But Chris Candido looks phenomenal.
he is jacked here, man. He is yoked. He's looking great. So the announcers, something I like about ECW is how the announcers announce every single match, like regardless if it's a title match or not. Like the announcer is going to announce like in this quarter.
It's a a subtlety that
It's
gives
a nice
it
little
importance.
touch. Yeah, it makes
also
every
can't-
fight feel big.
They also can't afford the graphics.
Yeah, they can't afford to tail the tape, so this is what you get. But of course, in Paul Heyman style, Tammy Lynn cuts off the announcer and decides she's going to announce Chris Candido herself. I loved her announcement because she went, what did she said? Something like the hardest 275 pounds I've ever felt, or however much he weighs.
But it was really Sean.
Yeah, I know. I was just gonna say I couldn't help but think.
And this was
really?
after all the Sean stuff happened.
Oh,
in case
yeah.
anyone
Yep.
needed a timeline.
So she introduces
Sonny.
Candido, who's wearing like
His Rick Steiner ear.
he's wearing
Headgear.
like yellow
Headgear.
wrestling headgear, but they give a reason for it, which is supposedly Sabu tore his ear off and he had to get plastic surgery to repair it.
He did. Sabu hit him hard. And
So that's why he's wearing the headgear. It won't last. Don't worry. It gets taken off. So naturally, as the match starts off,
But he's called Mr. No Gimmicks Needed here. by the
yeah,
way.
that's right. Mr. No Gimmicks needed Chris Candido.
because he just came out of the Body Donna's thing.
Yeah.
And one thing, Sonny seems to actually fit in the trashiness of ECW quite well.
Oh, for sure.
And I
for
hate her
sure.
voice.
I do too. I can't stand it.
I think that's why Cornette.
Go ahead.
I think that's why Cornette hired her when he picked up Candido, is because he realized, God, she'd make such a great heel valet.
Well, they were together
Granted,
at
they
that
were
time.
together then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
she
yeah,
was
yeah.
going to medical school.
Really?
LOL.
Oh yeah, she
should've stayed there.
A nurse or a doctor.
Should we get into the match?
Yes.
All right. So naturally, with the headgear, Storm is targeting the head right away. Gets some big chops, then some big elbows to the head. Corner clothesline just whips Candido's head back. Like wow. He didn't like protect his neck or his head at all on that clothesline, and his head just gets whipped onto the top turnbuckle there. And then Storm removes the headgear at this point, and then there's a diving crossbody from the top to Storm on the outside, and then Storm gets sent into the barricade, and then rolled back into the ring. There's a drop kick, a beautiful drop kick to Candido by Storm, and then Storm, Tammy gets involved and causes a distraction, and so Storm goes out, chases her into the ring, and then it costs him though because he eats a big sit-out powerbomb for his troubles for a Candido near fall. There's a big delayed vertical suplex to Storm where he just left him up there forever, and then a middle turnbuckle leg drop.
That was super impressive.
The suplex?
like the holding him up forever thing.
It was like
Yeah.
like that never ceases to amaze me because like you could be lifting the smallest man up there and that's still a lot of weight
Well,
to
like,
just hold there.
and it's two people working
Exactly,
too,
'cause you think, like-
Candido's got to be completely board
Yeah.
stiff.
Yeah, he's got to have the core
Straight
strength.
up and
And
down.
same for Storm though, because a lot of times when you see those vertical suplexes, either the guy on the bottom's starting to shake or the guy on the top's like starting to get bendy.
Right.
But like Storm was like straight as an arrow the whole time.
Looking like British Bulldog.
it was
out there.
it was amazing. And usually like I don't pop huge for those delayed verticals, but like it was so clean. Like
Oh, but you
have
popped.
to, right?
This was great.
Yeah. So after Tammy causes the distraction, she Candido gets a near fall off of a sit out power bomb, and then we get the delayed suplex, and there's a middle turnbuckle leg drop for Chris Candido for a near fall, and then a super kick to Candido by Storm for a near fall, and then a swinging neckbreaker to Storm for another Candido near fall. So both men are trading advantages here. There's a snap power slam to Storm for a near fall, and then Candido gets suplexed from the apron onto the concrete
my
ground.
God.
Almost landed on his head, by the way. Took a
Oh my
really
God.
nasty looking bump. And then Lance Storm baseball slide drop kicks Candido right into the first row. There's a springboard crossbody to Candido into the crowd by Storm from the ring. Really nice looking spot there. They trade forearms once they get back into the ring. There's a double headbutt. Storm falls down right away. Candido stumbles around, happens to fall right on top of Storm for a near fall. I liked that. And then there's a superplex to Candido by Storm. And then there's a middle rope spinning heel kick for a Storm near fall. And then a Tiger Bomb for another Storm near fall. And then Storm's on the ropes. He goes for some kind of springboard maneuver, but it gets countered into a Candido power slam for another near fall. And then Candido gets some powder from Tammy. And then, of course, 100% of the time, if you get powder in your hand,
It's going in your own
it's
face.
going in your eyes, and it certainly does here. So he decks the ref on accident because he thinks it's Storm. The ref's down. There's a super kick to Candido, and then Tammy gets in the ring. So Storm's up top. I don't know. He's gonna go for a moonsault or something, and then Lynn comes in the ring and just starts like grabbing his ass and then crotches him right on the top rope, and then Candido accidentally rolls up the ref, causing she was
Okay,
like
I
holding
laughed
onto
at that.
Tammy, and then like causes Tammy's dress to come undone, which like this is like some Russo level stuff now. And then Tammy rolls out of the ring, security covers her up, and then I did like the ref roll up though. And
yeah,
then,
no, I didn't care for the top coming off.
Yeah.
But I thought the ref roll up was
Same.
pretty funny.
Yes.
And then we get a blonde bombshell, which is a second rope power bomb by
That
Candido.
looked
Hey,
vicious.
gorgeous.
Looked great.
It looked,
And
oh.
It's all the way across the damn ring.
And
Yeah,
that was
it was
named after
amazing.
Sable.
Yep. And Candido wins in 11 minutes. I enjoyed this match. I was getting a little worried though towards the end because I was like, I know it's ECW's thing, but like, are we gonna get dirty finishes every match tonight? Because these two matches like had very similar endings. Like even like with like a high risk finishing maneuver to end it, like down to like the very beats, it was very similar. So I was like, oof, not a huge fan of that. I did like the match though. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was a decent little match.
You thought the Jerry Lynn Incredible match was better?
Yes.
Yeah, I did definitely.
Okay.
I also gave this 3 stars. I thought it was very convoluted at the ending, which really hurt it. I think there was just too much going on. That some of it just didn't make sense. Like
Sure.
so, I gave it 3 stars as well. I did like the Jerry Lynn match better. Mm-hmm. But I think Lance Storm and Chris Candido are both fantastic workers.
Oh my God.
And I might even go as far to say if it wasn't for the convoluted ending, this match would be better than the first one.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
That's what took me out of it.
Sure. I mean, the first match had a pretty weird.
It had to me this whole show
It's ECW.
had a weird pacing to it.
Yeah.
I know I've had a lot of trouble watching some of the Attitude Era shows,
Right.
and I think this show was overall better than the Bad Blood one we did, but it might have been harder to watch for me because of the production.
And it's the cutting. It's
yeah,
cutting from one thing to
the
the
cutting
other
was
thing,
so
and-
bad that like
Yeah. There's no flow to ECW.
it's something I could have done in the Centralia College Wade Fisher class. Like,
Shout out Wade Fisher.
yeah, the man,
Friend of the podcast.
the real man.
For me, I think I'd have to go. I went 3.5 because I like these two, and it might have been partially because I don't know how early in their feud this is. I think it's fairly early, but these two had a long run of
These are the perfect people to put together.
feuding with
man.
each other. And Storm is, he's so good, and Candido is a great ring technician. And it's funny because I listened to for a while Lance Storm was with Cyrus.
Killing the Town.
on the Killing the Town, and they did an honorary podcast to Candido, and Storm was talking about this, saying that he loved working with Chris, and he was talking about some of the spots they would do every match, and he said they could work similar matches every night when they were doing house shows and spot shows and things. And he said it was just great because they got so much out of each other, and it just was a great feud.
By the way, that's a very underrated podcast, Killing the Town.
Oh, it's good.
Who's on it?
Good.
Cyrus, Don Callis, and Lance Storm.
It was Storm for a while. He's
Lance
out.
Storm. So here's the funny thing. Lance Storm never had a ton. I mean, he had some funny gimmicks. Never had a ton of personality in the ring. He's a funny bastard.
Oh, he's
Oh, yeah.
hilarious. His
He's always
Twitter
going
is
off his
great.
Twitter is hilarious.
Yeah, he's always going off on Twitter.
The other thing with him too is, we said he may not have gotten enough recognition in the ring, but the level of talent, and particularly female talent, that he's put out of his wrestling school is insane. Taya Valkyrie
Yeah.
is one of his.
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green's one of his. I mean, so if you check his Twitter, he does a lot of his Storm Wrestling Academy.
I can understand how he would be an amazing trainer. He's Mr. Consistency.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, just everything's clean. Everything's looks good.
And sorry, Luke. I know you're coming up.
You're good, buddy.
But he got put in some shitty gimmicks in WWE.
Yes.
But he owned them. Like,
Oh,
remember
for sure.
the "Can I Be Serious for a moment"?
yes.
He
Actually,
owned that.
Yes.
No, it was good, but he deserved better.
Yeah.
I don't know why Vince. I mean, yes, he was stone faced. Like that was just how he looked naturally. But Vince really wanted to push that all the time. It didn't want to give him anything super creative.
I mean, RVD was kind of stone faced all the time, and they gave him a
LOL.
push.
I think there's a little bit difference in the stone in there.
Luke, what do you think of that show?
I gave it 3 1/4.
Right on.
But yeah, Kyle was right though that the finish, just the end of it, got way too gimmicky. But I think that Just Incredible's entourage made the other match a little too gimmicky too. Two fantastic workers. This is the perfect combo to put together, right? Lance Storm and Chris Candido, just amazing workers. I could probably rant all day about how missed Chris Candido was as wrestling evolved more and more. And I think, like Lance Storm, he could be one of the best trainers if he were still alive today.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
I agree for sure.
He just wanted to wrestle, and his life was made miserable by the person that he took everywhere with him. So he just kind of carried that little blonde black cloud over him.
Yep.
But yeah, I loved it. It was the second non-clean finish in a row, but this is ECW.
I was starting to get worried at this
So-
point, but I believe that was the only other kind of nonsense finish in the match,
I
unless you
think
got the main
so.
event, which I
think so.
don't really, but
Well, yeah, and the main event was just chaos.
yeah.
So.
So after that, back to the announce table, Styles decides they're going to cut to an incident that happened in the parking lot earlier. So we see New Jack, this was earlier in the day, out with the crowd, just
Out in Dayton, just doing his thing.
hyping up the people, saying that he's going to beat up Jack Victory tonight. And then
Which his New Jack's gig marks here.
are
Oh
so
my
bad.
God.
It's like Abdullah the Butcher level.
Yeah,
Like,
it definitely is.
and so, of course, Jack Victory takes issue with that. He shows up, and then the Dudleys roll up in this old Cadillac, like this red Cadillac, like this grandma car. And then they get out. Everyone jumps New Jack. I wrote here this literally looks like a backyard wrestling tape, because everyone's just jumping New Jack. You can't really see what's happening.
And to the Dudley's defense, that was probably the only card you could have got all of them
for
into,
sure,
including
for
Big Dick.
sure.
I mean, Jesus.
Who?
Big Dick.
Big Dick Dudley. He's in the match later.
Who?
BDD.
Oh, okay.
BDD, yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to hear you.
So everyone beats up New Jack and he's dead. So they cut back to Styles and they say that's why the weapons match with New Jack. He's not going to be around. So don't look forward to seeing New Jack. And then
Probably a good thing that match didn't happen.
yeah, probably.
Jack Victory. Be
Someone
dead.
could have died.
So then this is when I noticed that the cameraman must have had narcolepsy because they were falling asleep all day. So I know it was the 90s and extreme camera angles were a thing, but I couldn't stand this. And it happened from this point, every time they cut to Styles the rest of the show. So it would just start doing that 90s tilt thing, but all over. There was a point
I
later.
was getting seasick.
There was a point later when Styles was off camera, and I'm like, what are you doing? And speaking of bad camera angles, backstage, RVD and Sabu are with Fonzie, and Fonzie is just out of control. And,
Oh my God.
Luke loves Fonzie, but
I liked
He
him
drives
here.
me fucking nuts.
I liked him
I
here,
agree.
but I wanted him to go away in their match
I
later.
love the GOAT, Fonzie.
So he was just out of control, talking about how the Japanese losers are going to lose. He doesn't even know their names, which I kind of like. He's like, I don't even care about the name.
also RVD kept sneezing.
Yeah, what was that?
Hayabusa. Or no.
Yeah, no, it was a joke. It was probably
Yeah, he was
kind of a
Hayabusa.
racist joke.
it was a marijuana induced.
Oh, he was sneezing the name of the guy.
Yeah.
Hayabusa.
I missed
Hayabusa.
that.
Hayabusa.
Hayabusa.
Bless you.
So
So it was
one
funny.
thing I liked about this promo is that RVD was just like, again, like he was kind of playing like a cocky heel because he's like, "Oh, I'm the man. RVD's the man."
He's
and then
a
like,
surfer cocky. Though,
and then
which is great.
turn back to RVD or Sabu and be like, "Yeah, you too, Sabu, you too." And then he'd like go off on a timer and be like, "Yeah, you too, Sabu, you're good too."
Sabu was like gonna kill him in that promo. Like some of the looks and stuff Sabu gives
Oh,
him
yeah.
are just like, "You're gonna die, pal."
RVD
Like,
was a tweener, definitely here. Like he was not a
Dude,
heel
he's
and he
so
was not
young
a face.
too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he looks-
So
Oh, by the way, shout out to RVD. He retweeted us not too long ago. and We love him.
yeah, RVD, huge fan of the
Hall of
podcast.
Fame.
Huge
So
friend of the
can I give
podcast.
you a little bit of info on RVD? He's got a kind of a cool record that
Yeah.
he set.
Is it a criminal record?
No, it's a weightlifting record.
Really?
Actually. So
Love you. Sorry,
RVD innovated a weightlifting technique, and what you do is you take two steel chairs, you set them across from each other, you do the splits between them, and you lift a weight up over your head
Oh wow.
in a split position.
I can't even do
between
the
two
splits,
chairs.
let alone lift
Well,
weights while I'm doing
they-
it.
And he did like 550 pounds.
Wow.
What?
that way. Yeah.
Dude,
That
that's
sounds
crazy.
like
It's the
that
Rob
sounds like
Van
a
Dam
completely
lift.
shredded groin is what that sounds
Yeah,
like.
seriously.
But he's that good.
That's wild. So that's kind of the angle, right? Is like our RVD and Sabu. They're the tag team champions, but they don't really get along. Are they going to be able to get along in their tag team match tonight? Again, the camera work just starts going out of control, and then Fonzie starts with that fucking whistle, and he starts blowing that whistle, and I just knew it was going to come into play in the match, and I was like done already, and I was like, oh no, I hope
You and me both.
I was praying
There
he-
was
Oh, I'm there too.
There was so much anger in that fucking whistle.
I just knew, like the second he started blowing the whistle in the backstage promo, I was like, I hope he loses it before this match starts because that's going to be relentless, and it was. But
Also, I guess RVD was
I-
27 here.
I will give him
Okay.
this. It wasn't as bad as I've seen some of his matches.
During the match?
During the match. It wasn't as bad as I've seen some of them, and I think that was out of respect to the guys from Japan
Yeah,
because I've
yeah.
seen some where he did not lay off that goddamn thing.
I messaged a friend last night who's a big wrestling fan and friend of the podcast, and I said, I gotta ask you, does Fonzie's whistle drive you as nuts as it drives me? And he goes, it's fucking annoying.
yeah,
And then he also
the
agreed
point?
with me on something that we're gonna get to later with New Jack too, and he agreed with me there as well.
okay. So up next, before we get to that tag team match, we're gonna get Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka.
Are you okay?
That's
no,
right.
I'm so
Tanaka in
So a
ECW.
Tanaka.
Oh, he's
awesome
popping.
fan.
He's popping.
Oh my
So-
god.
So Mike Awesome comes out first. I love that. I love his entrance theme here, by the way.
Oh, it's original. It's one of the few
Yeah, I love it.
original
Some is
themes
what they
in
say.
ECW.
Yeah, it's like this like classic like late '90s like kind of like a surfer rock tune with like these super cheesy vocals. I love it. And
6'6" and
so right off the bat, the announcers are playing this up as a rivalry that has spanned different promotions, different countries, different titles. I love that. Like really like added weight to like how long these two have been feuding.
3 years at this point is
Yeah.
how long they've been wrestling.
Yeah.
from
all over the world.
FMW.
And I
Started
believe
in-
that they wrestle each other on Anarchy Rules '99, which is after a year after this.
And then
a
they
show that
wrestled
we'll
on
be looking at.
ECW One Night Stand 2005, and it was great.
So again, yeah. So obviously both men have made names for themselves in Japan. They're over here stateside, not slouches here stateside either. Anyways, I just liked how they kind of promoted that importance of this rivalry and how they're getting to see a kind of a special matchup tonight, which they definitely are. So right off the bat, the match starts. Awesome calls Tanaka a motherfucker, which is
That was
censored
great.
for some
Get off-
reason.
No, and while he says it, then it must have been another one because there's a point in the match where he's getting the shit like Tanaka's all over him and he pushes him off. Get off me, motherfucker! And they don't sentence it.
They
or silence it.
silenced the first motherfucker with like a bleep, but it was the only thing bleeped on the whole show. Like why that?
And there were plenty of other F-bombs.
Well,
Yeah.
and they give a TVMA rating before they start,
Yeah,
which
so
is like, let it go.
Exactly. And then right after he calls him a motherfucker, he hits him with a big overhead belly to belly, and then a slingshot shoulder block to Tanaka. Mike Austin's moving around like a cruiserweight in this match, followed by a standing splash
Oh
for a
my
near fall.
God.
Brother.
Tanaka gets clotheslined out of the ring, and then Mike Awesome, Undertaker style, does a tope dive to Tanaka outside. And then they go back into the ring here. There's a big German to Tanaka who no-sells it, and then gets up and hits the scariest scoop power slam I've ever seen to Mike Awesome. Almost dropped him on
So
his
here's
head.
the thing. So they have Awesome listed as 6'6".
Uh-huh.
They have Tanaka listed at 5'11", which I think is generous.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
way generous.
He's short. I mean,
Yeah.
he's stacked.
He's built like
so
a
it's,
tank.
So
He's
it's
stacked.
so it's no wonder that the power slam
that
looked
he's
the way it
almost
did.
breaking his neck
Yeah.
on multiple occasions. Yeah.
So there's a springboard clothesline to Awesome, and then Tanaka produces the chair, and then so they're on the entrance ramp. He runs all the way to the back of the entrance ramp, takes off, sprints, and then drills Awesome right in the head with the chair, and then hits a top rope missile dropkick back in the ring to Awesome for a near fall. And then Tanaka grabs the chair once again, and then Awesome gets one of his own. They're outside outside of the ring right now at ringside. There's some dueling chair shots until eventually Awesome drops his chair. Tanaka gets a clean shot to the back, and then Tanaka gets thrown back into the crowd over the barricade, and then Awesome hits a springboard plancha like Sabu style, where like
That was
crazy.
he like hovers on the
Holy
rope
crap.
and then springboards him, takes him out right into the crowd.
He's so ridiculous.
And actually it was smoother than some of the stuff I've seen Sabu do. Which
yeah,
was
it was
insane.
super smooth. Like he just like perched on that
He
rope
just
for like a
stopped.
good like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Very good balance there by Mike Awesome.
Oh,
I really liked
R.I.P.
that.
Mike Awesome. You were so good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he really was. And then he gets back into the ring, hits an awesome bomb for a near fall. And I loved his reaction to that near fall because he just had this like look of dejection in his face. Like,
Oh,
I just did
It's
this
a
match
damn
should be
awesome
over.
bomb.
Yeah.
He had to remind him that it was his damn finisher.
And then Awesome hits a diving splash to Tanaka for a near fall. And then he grabs a chair and then just kills Tanaka with headshots.
I wrote this is where CTE happens.
Oh yeah, because he was like the chair was he mutilated this chair with these chair shots, and then Tanaka has the gall to no sell them, but he like can't like the third one like knocks him down, and he's
And
like
it completely bends the chair
yeah,
backwards.
he's got wobbly knees, and then Awesome gets a near fall off of those, and then there's a running crucifix type bomb to Tanaka, which gets Awesome a near fall. It was an interesting looking move. They called it a power bomb, but he was like fully behind him.
yeah, it was a running razor's edge.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It was really cool. And then there's a top rope chair shot to Tanaka, and then Tanaka hits a crucifix bomb of his own to Awesome like from inside of the ring to outside through the table that's on the outside.
Dude, I thought he was dead.
It was awesome.
His neck, he
Yeah.
landed right
He
on
landed
the back
like
of his
right
head
on the
and
back of his neck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Back in the ring for the nearest of near falls I've ever seen for Tanaka, and then there's a running forearm to Awesome, and then another, and then he hits the roaring elbow. And that's another near fall, another super close one. And then he gets fed up, puts a chair down, goes
Two
on the top
chairs.
rope. 2 chairs, that's right. Hits a tornado DDT onto Awesome, onto the chairs. Tanaka wins in 12 minutes. This is match of the night for me so far at this point.
This match of the night in general for me.
Really, really, really good match. I liked it. See, it kind of like quelled my fears because I was like, oh man, this is gonna be like a dirty finish kind of night. This was the cleanest of clean finishes. Just a hard hitting match.
So
I give it
awesome.
3.75 stars. Very good. If it would have went like 3 more minutes, this is a 4-star plus match for me.
I gave it a 4-star. It never stopped.
Yeah, it was
the,
crazy.
The matches previously, there was like some lagging time for me, but this one seemed like it just went nonstop.
It just ruled.
and
man.
It was awesome.
But I will say I was cringing on some of the chair shots. I messaged my friend Jonathan and I was like, dude, like these shots, like
They're brutal.
they're brutal. And he said the same thing, kind of like he wants to watch The Rock versus Mankind, but like he doesn't want to watch.
WrestleMania 99.
Rumble 99.
Yeah, and he doesn't. But he doesn't want to see the chair shots because
Yeah.
they're so brutal. And and like I guess maybe this is controversial what I'm about to say, but like I think CTE and brain damage did more for the Chris Benoit case than steroids and drugs.
That's
and
not
stuff.
controversial. That's proven
No,
fact.
that's
Yeah.
fact.
Well,
yeah.
some people like Mark Merrow think it's just the wrestling business and not the
Here he
brain
goes.
damage.
Here he goes.
But
Chris Nowinski he actually did a TED talk on this.
Okay.
He's a medical doctor. He was a professional wrestler and now a medical doctor. He has been. This is going to sound kind of barbaric, but he's been harvesting brains of professional
Oh, yeah.
athletes for a center
Yeah.
for these studies. And the first one he did was Benoit's, because from permission from his dad, and they determined that because of the number of concussions he had the brain of an 80-year-old man with
Yep.
Alzheimer's disease.
Well, and I
he was
think,
like
too-
45.
And again,
maybe?
like I don't want to like downplay tragedy because like obviously everything that happened with Benoit was horrible and terrible, but I think that a lot of good has come from it.
Yes.
Just in wrestling
So
in general.
much.
Like
And
Yeah,
football.
yeah, and I know-
and
football,
football too,
wrestling,
yeah.
contact sports in general.
we don't need head
realizing-
trauma like
right,
that.
right.
anymore.
And I think back in the day we didn't have the science.
yeah.
That we have now, which is kind of crazy that in like what 15 20 years like that
We've come
there's-
so far.
we've come so much far with and I'm not trying to like talk up Benoit or anything,
By the way, I definitely recommend watching the movie Concussion. Has Will Smith in it. if you
but
haven't,
but I mean like look at Junior Seau in football and like all these guys who
all those 70s Steelers players, like there was
Yeah,
that dude who
and-
killed himself, and
I mean I think CTE the Wazoo quarterback had
Right,
CTE
right.
and killed
Was it-
himself
was it
just
Leaf?
last year. No, it was
Tyler Helinski.
Oh,
yeah.
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 So I think watching these now kind of make me
It's-
cringe
yeah, it's tough.
in a way, and like I still love it, like the wrestling part of it, but now you're like, oh, I see what happens, and I'm not trying to go on like a long like rant or
No, dude.
but like
You're right.
I don't know. I think we all need to kind of understand why some of these guys are dropping like flies now
And-
because their
Preach it,
brain's
brother.
gone.
Oh, and they just lived hard
and I
lives.
totally agree with you because the thing is years before this, years shots were minimal, and B, when they were done in a way that chair never made contact with their head. Whatever the foreign object was, never contacted them in a way that could hurt them.
Much the way it is now.
But for believability's sake, as the product progressed and changed, they did that for that realism, and a lot of those guys paid a price. And I'm actually truly surprised Foley, of all of those guys, is as literate and functional as he is.
I was going to say this on the pod a few weeks ago, is please don't take McFoley.
Yeah.
Like please preserve him.
How he has gone I don't want to say unscathed because his body is broken.
Oh,
but
his body is destroyed.
Mentally, how he has gone so unscathed.
How he's written books. He's a freaking genius.
It amazes me that he has shown no lasting effects from the amount of things he has gone through in his career.
without a ghostwriter.
Yeah,
that's
and then
the key.
It's incredible.
Also, we saw a chair shot at Homecoming, right, in the Abyss and Eli Drake match, I believe.
Yeah,
but that head chair shot, I believe it was Drake who got hit. Maybe it was Abyss, but they had their hands up.
Yeah.
Right? And in these ones...
And it was the only one in the entire show.
Right. But in this one, their hands were not up.
No.
No, in ECW, you took it like
you took it like
quote-unquote man.
And that's why they're dead.
Interesting point. Joe, what did you think of the match?
I gave it because and to be honest, I mean, I this is the reason I requested this show, and this is the reason that I did. And I gave this match 4 stars because it's awesome in Tanaka.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of similar spots in all their matches, but every time there's different things and there's little intricacies, and oh man, they're so good. So good.
I loved it.
This is what a big man match should be.
Oh, for sure.
This is what a big man match should be.
Well,
for the time.
You say a big
everything
man
in
match, but these
context.
dudes were flying around like fucking
Cruiserweights.
Right,
dude.
I know.
Big man,
But
not all big men can do
Not
this.
right again. I mean, not all guys are Vader. Not all guys are awesome.
Right.
Not all guys are Taker.
Vader's not going to do that.
No, Vader's not going to do that.
I would love to see Vader do a springboard clothesline.
Honestly, and I am an absolute huge
break
Taker.
the top
I'm
rope.
an absolute huge Taker mark. Taker couldn't even do what Mike Awesome was doing. Granted, Taker's got like 4 or 5 inches on him.
He could do a lot of it, but
He could
not
do a
all
lot of it, yes.
Yeah, I'm
but
with you.
he wasn't doing springboard planches.
Right, no. Luke, what did you think of the match?
I gave it 3 3/4. This match just ruled.
It did.
I mean, I had a really hard time not giving it 4.
Should have just given it 4, man.
Yeah, just give it 4.
Well, the next match was really good too. So
Ooh, you thought so, huh? I didn't think
Really?
so. I didn't think so.
Really?
I'll explain why.
I
I
loved it.
didn't think it was
I
bad.
loved it.
Let's get into it.
Okay, go ahead.
So real quick before that, Taz cuts a promo on Bigelow. Just classic Taz promo.
And he says he's better than Tyson, Goldberg, or Austin.
Yeah, I like that.
no lies, no lies detected. Just kidding.
Taz was good, man. Taz was good.
I-
And then
he
after that, we do
wasn't
get
better than-
the ECW tag
better
title
than
match,
Goldberg, though.
which is going to be the champions RVD and Sabu, accompanied by Bill Alfonso, against Hayabusa and Jinsei Shinzaki, 2 Japanese
Who was
imports.
a Kushi in the WWF?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, nice and
Like the 95, 96.
And again, another guy that was totally misused. He had some great matches with Bret Hart, but other than that,
okay.
was not well used. I'm trying to interject my little bit of history here. And both of these guys came from Frontier Martial Arts, which was a promotion in Japan, hardcore promotion that basically was ECW but Japanese version, and did both hardcore and straight wrestling, and they were something else for
Oh,
the time.
cool.
And Hayabusa is their god. He is like the man at this point.
Okay. I noticed both men are scarred up. Like all the Japanese talent on the show has Sabu scars.
Barbed wire.
This was when the death match was like
Barbed wire.
the big thing in Japan. So
And
I did love.
you say, Joe, what is it, FMA or whatever?
FMW, Frontier Martial
FMW?
Arts Wrestling.
So that was the place that Foley and
No. So they took from that. So IWA, before it became IWA Mid-South with Ian Rotten, IWA was a Japanese promotion.
And that's where the death
And
match
that's where the death match happened.
The
And
landmine.
Actually, if you guys ever want to do a really screwed up show, maybe your Patreon thing, we should all sit together sometime. I've got the full Tournament of Death that Foley was
I don't
in
know if I can make it through it.
on DVD, and it's like 4 hours of
Just-
nothing but hardcore
Oh,
matches,
man.
like barbed wire ropes, thumbtack
Yikes.
beds, nail beds,
Nails?
nails.
Yeah, nails are too much for me.
That's where you draw the line. Let's get into this
How is
match.
that not pierced organs?
Show I loved the they weren't real, but like the tattoo work on Shinzaki because it was so intricately done. Like, can you imagine?
They're
Like
real.
Yeah, they're real.
They're real.
they
I mean,
are.
Yeah.
Pretty sure because
No, they're not real.
Are they not?
I looked up pictures of him, and there was a picture from 2015, and those were not on there.
I didn't think they
What,
were
what if
because
he
they
just got
look.
extensive laser treatment?
Oh my god!
I mean, maybe.
That'd be all over
Because
his
he
body.
also had those same tattoos as Hakushi.
Yeah, and in wrestling, I can't imagine
Yeah.
nothing not smearing.
That's what I was wondering. They looked great though. Like it was all very intricate. The line work was really clean. I don't know. I thought it was cool. So I will say this match was a lot for me to get through. But let's get into it. So the match hasn't even started yet, and Fonzie is already laying into that whistle, and I'm ready to turn the show off. And it's going to just go on through this entire match. So as always, RVD is super, super, super over during intros here. I mean, man, the crowd just loves him so much. He has such a connection with the fans. So before the match even there's a lot of before the match stuff here. So before the match even starts, Sabu's like already trying to attack the ref for some reason. Like,
Dude, he was crazy. He's a suicidal,
here's the thing with
genocidal.
Sabu, is he takes a lot of his gimmick from his uncle.
oh,
And
really?
the
From the
Sheik,
Sheik.
the Sheik was nuts. We're not talking the Iron Sheik, so that nobody gets confused here. We're
Right,
talking
right.
Detroit era territory, head of the Detroit territory, Sheik, and Sheik would fuck you up. If you like, I mean, he was not afraid to blade your ass, chased fans around. He was ape shit crazy. And Sabu takes so much of his attitude from his uncle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
he's
that's
definitely
where he gets
crazy.
that.
So, and then they RVD and Sabu cannot decide who's going to start the match first. I like this, but it did go on kind of forever.
It went on too long.
It went on way too long. So like it kind of just boiled down to them just like standing around. Eventually, it is decided that RVD and Hayabusa are going to start, and then Fonzie's just riding that damn whistle outside the whole match. That's the last thing I'll say about it. I promise. But
Hope you like whistles.
it like actively hampered my enjoyment of this match.
So Joey's comment was great. I hope he swallows that damn
I was
whistle.
just thinking, and then he said it, and I was like, "See, I could be a commentator." So RVD does the RVD pose right off the bat, then Sabu does one of his own. Just a lot of one-upmanship between the team. Hayabusa, sorry about that, has the early advantage until RVD takes him down, and then Hayabusa manages a roll-up attempt. And then during all the madness, Hayabusa and RVD are having like a nice sequence, but there's like so much shit happening like all over the place. Like the crowd's doing their own thing. Fonzie's like getting on the apron and just doing whatever he's doing. Sabu's going like a caged animal on the apron. He's running into the ring. During all that, there's a nice sequence going on inside the ring here. And then the crowd does a "you fucked up" chant, but I didn't really notice any fuck
It
up.
was
It
he
was like-
fell off the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just wasn't clean with the counter.
Okay. On the springboard counter there?
Yeah.
Okay. I see. I didn't notice too much, but the crowd did. So there's a super quick arm drag by RVD. Really nice looking spot there. And then I noticed here, like, they're really trying to make RVD unlikable. Not going to work, though.
He's so
crowd,
over.
yeah, the
It
crowd's
is
hot.
not going to work. Shinzaki is in now. A big Vader bomb to RVD for a near fall, but like he laid his body out and just like
Just
planked.
parallel.
He like planked on the rope before he went down. It was cool. And then Shinzaki does the old school here, but he walks like all the way around the ring.
That was one of his.
It was
his-
awesome.
Oh, it was so cool.
They had a name for it, but I just called
The
it
praying rope walk.
Yeah, thank you.
because he does the whole hand in
Yeah,
front of his
yep.
face.
It was cool. It was
Yeah, it
really
literally
neat.
went like through a whole side and then a half.
Yeah, it was cool. Shinzaki misses, and he did it like fast too. Like he like was skipping.
hauling ass.
He was going.
Fucking trapeze artist. Yeah.
Shinzaki misses the knee drop, allowing RVD to recover a little bit, hits a spin kick, and then a corkscrew leg drop to Shinzaki. Sabu gets tagged in, hits a springboard leg drop for a near fall. He is like moving a million miles a minute when he gets in here. Hayabusa gets tagged in, hits a split-legged moonsault to Sabu for a near fall. There's a nice drop kick after that by Hayabusa, and then Sabu rolls outside to catch his breath, and then gets back into the ring, hits a drop kick for a near fall onto Hayabusa. And then Fonzie is just really too much. He's getting in the ring.
He's driving me nuts.
He's starting to really drive me nuts at this point.
Love
There's
him.
an ankle lock to Hayabusa, but he gets to the ropes. RVD gets involved and then gets taken out by Shinzaki, and shit just falls apart here. Sabu rolls out of the ring. He hits a baseball slide, and then an aside moonsault takes out both RVD and Sabu, and that's by Hayabusa. And then RVD gets closed on over the barricade, and then Sabu takes everyone out with a springboard dive off the chair, of course, the air Sabu. And then RVD throws everyone over the barricade, including Sabu, by the way, who like he threw over first, like hard too. Like, be nice, man. He's your partner. I did like that though. Maybe it made me laugh. What can I say? And then RVD gets set up, hits the guillotine leg drop onto Hayabusa from the apron to the barricade, and then back in the ring. I guess Shinzaki is in now. There's not a tag at the rest of this match, by the way. RVD and Sabu are double teaming Shinzaki outside, and then gets back into the ring. RVD hits a bow and arrow, which allows for a dive with a chair by Sabu right into the rib cage
So
of Shinzaki.
That was called wrong. That's just an elevated surfboard stretch.
Oh, okay.
Because
okay.
the bow and arrow's sideways.
Oh, okay. So I thought so, but I was
Good-
like, I'm
good call,
going to
good
write down
call.
what Styles said.
I could be an announcer.
Yeah, you could. Hayabusa makes the save, which was too late, and the 3 was counted. But you know what? We're playing fast and loose here, so it is a near fall. And then there's a springboard swanton and a springboard knee drop, and then a springboard moonsault. So Hayabusa does the first move, Shinzaki does
God,
the
I
second,
love it.
and then Hayabusa does the springboard moonsault. Sabu breaks up the pin, and then there's an air Sabu to Hayabusa in the corner, a spin kick by RVD for a near fall, bridging Sherman's suplex to Hayabusa for a near fall, top rope hurricane run to Shinzaki, followed by an RVD splash for a near fall. This match is just chaos at this point. There's a payday kick by Shinzaki to RVD. Hayabusa goes up top, hits the 450 splash to RVD for a near fall, and then Sabu makes the save, and then there's a rolling thunder leg drop combo to Hayabusa by RVD and Sabu.
That was pretty.
There's a Boston Crab by Shinzaki by Sabu, and then RVD hits a top rope leg drop while the hold is applied for a Sabu near fall. Sabu sets the table up in the ring. Hayabusa kills Sabu with a leg drop while the hold is applied. Oh, I already said that. Hayabusa kills Sabu with a punch, who just dies, but then gets right back up just in time to eat a top rope shoulder block for a near fall. There's a vicious looking dragon screw leg whip to RVD by Shinzaki. Sabu and Hayabusa are up top now. Hayabusa gets crushed on the top rope. Fonzie holds the chair. Van Dam hits a coast to coast, not coast to coast because it was
a coast to coast Van Daminator.
Yeah, coast to coast Van Daminator. And then another dragon screw to RVD by Shinzaki. RVD gets set up on the table and it breaks. Hayabusa hits a frog splash anyways for a near fall. Another table gets set up. RVD at this point kicks out of a Michinoku driver. There's stuff happening everywhere. There's a Van Daminator to Shinzaki. Both Hayabusa and Shinzaki are laid on the table. Double leg drops. Sabu gets the pinfall victory.
RVD, so with that Michinoku driver, he didn't kick out of it. Sabu Arabian face bustered.
Oh, okay.
The guy pinning him.
And eventually Sabu gets the pinfall off the double leg drop through the table in 21 minutes. This was quite a match. There's a lot of really cool spots. Fonzie really annoyed me, and I felt like at times it was too disorganized. It was impossible to call a lot of it because it was just everyone was doing their own thing. Tables were breaking in the ring. It was craziness. Still liked it a lot. Gave it 3.5. It just was drugged down a little bit for me by Fonzie, and just the ending sequence was just a little too crazy for me. Still enjoyed it though. Liked the finish.
I gave it 3 1/4. Fonzie brought it down a lot for me. Also, I heard spots being called.
Oh yeah, I heard that too.
And they were calling spots, and I'm like, God, this is ruining the match
And
for me.
I heard it I didn't hear it before this, but I heard it starting in this match, and I heard it the rest of the night.
Oh, I never heard it again, but
I heard it in the main event quite a bit.
That actually brings up a point I was going to make because ECW's rings, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but how heavily mic'd they are.
Yeah.
Everything sounds brutal, and I'm thinking that maybe some of their mic
are a little too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I noticed it in a few other matches as well. I heard a couple, not spot calls, but I heard a couple live mic moments in the Taz and Bam Bam match. And then in the main event, I heard a couple spot calling too. But yeah, that's probably, I'm guessing it's because of the ring mics.
yeah,
They're just so hot.
So with that and Fonzie, and then the table not being set up right, and then Fonzie just jumping into the ring randomly
So many
was
times.
so annoying, and I just couldn't get over it.
The table
And-
just broke, right? When they
No,
tried-
the
the leg broke off.
Yeah, because there were too many guys trying to set up the table at once. There was 4 guys trying to set up the table.
the first leg was already broken, and then they put RVD on it, and the other leg just broke.
And it was just so messy and so sloppy at
I think
times.
messy's a good way to put it.
I did like most of the action, but I was starting to get really annoyed with this match. And I think you texted me last night and said this match gave you anxiety.
It gave me anxiety
and
towards the end.
I was getting there
It was
too
too-
because
it
I
was
was
too
like,
much.
this is too much happening at once. And then we'll get to the main event, which was
See, I
even
thought the main
more-
event was a little easier to digest. For
No,
me.
it was more
No way.
convoluted than
No
this.
way.
It was also half as long though.
No way.
Joe, what
The
do you think of
camera
this
didn't
match?
catch so much crap.
Oh, I know.
I gave it 4 because I think the guys were super good. A couple of things with Hayabusa. Hayabusa, like I said, he was FMW's guy. He was going to be one of the predominant stars in Japan, and he was for years. He's actually passed away a couple of years ago. He broke his neck in Japan in 2001. He was doing Asai moonsault off the second rope, and the rope slipped, and he cracked his neck off the apron. And it paralyzed
horrible.
it paralyzed him from the neck down, and it took him several years, but he finally learned how to walk. There's a great video, and it's awe-inspiring of him kind of being, I don't know if he was wheeled to the ring or whatever, and he gets out of his wheelchair and walks up to the ring in Japan.
Oh wow!
When he learns how to walk,
That's
or
awesome.
learn how to walk again, and the crowd goes ape
Oh, I
shit
bet.
and applauds him. But yeah, 4-star. I agree, it's messy, but that was. To me, that's Japanese wrestling at the time, and it was. It's interesting to me, and I don't know, guys. I've watched a lot of wrestling from all over the place. But it's always interesting to me to watch Japanese and Mexican wrestlers sell, whether they do or whether they don't, and how long they do. Because with a mask, it's hard to tell.
Right.
But it was really interesting because I think that was a lot of this. It was a lot of, ow, that hurt. I'm getting back up and kicking your ass.
Kind of like a more modern U.S. style that you see now.
Yeah.
Not as extreme, but
I think you put it in great perspective there, Joe, with Hayabusa breaking his neck. So many of these plancha spots, it's so easy. I mean, it really is just
fraction of an inch.
Yeah, you can.
Well, especially like Joe said,
yourself.
if a rope slips or breaks or something similar like that happens.
I think people really discount that in wrestling in general.
I agree.
You land the wrong way, you're done.
I totally agree.
You're dead. You're paralyzed. Something. With that being said, also hearing your and Kyle's reactions, I would like to preface this by saying I watched like all of the show early this morning, so I might have been delirious or something. But to me, this was amazing. Like, this was so awesome ECW. Like, this was so ECW to me.
It had some cool spots, but it was just too messy, man.
See, I think Fonzie really annoyed you guys. I had the volume pretty down.
I almost muted it.
I turned it down a lot during this match.
I was considering muting it.
But then him jumping in the ring was too much.
And that's just Fonzie's shtick.
Dude,
that's
he's always
the problem.
been so
like
involved in matches.
You have to if you can get past his shtick and focus just on the wrestling, and that is hard. And I will grant you that is hard because he is so. I almost think sometimes like Cyrus used to say that he got in trouble with WWE because he put himself over the talent. Fonzie kind of does or tries to do that a little bit too.
Yeah, that's fair. So anyway, to me, this was dope as hell. I thought. I know that there was messy spots with the tables and whatever, but I thought that both tag teams had really good chemistry, so I gave it 4 stars. Cool. I really, really, really loved it. And I know you Busta Rhymes through like a million spots, but there were such cool spots and such athletic, spots. Anyway, cool. I had a great time.
Cool. So after that, we get a video package showing the ongoing rivalry between Bam Bam and Taz, but it's kind of just like Taz versus the triple threat, which is Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow, and the third guy who we saw earlier, Chris Candido. Thank you. So the whole story behind that is that Taz has just kind of been antagonizing the triple threat, and then of course very famously Bam Bam put Taz through the ring in a spot and then ended up beating him in a match, and then Taz is just destroying Shane Douglas any chance he gets, which leads to this match. I love this. So they cut back to Joey Styles and Shane Douglas. I noticed a few things here. So Francine is just like cringily mugging at the camera this whole time. Like she's just like perking up her chest and like making kissy motions and like raising her eyebrows. It was pretty funny. And then Shane Douglas is going at it. He's like out of control.
He was pissed.
And he's like starting to scream and he's like slamming pens. And then the second they cut away, he's like, I'm going to call this match right down the middle. Like seconds after he was screaming. I loved it.
I don't know if you... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Luke.
Well, and Taz, so one thing we didn't mention is Taz is the FTW.
He's the unrecognized FTW champion.
Heavyweight champion.
Well,
and so that's his world title basically.
Yeah.
Because he got pissed because Shane wouldn't fight him.
Yeah.
And so Douglas is the actual world heavyweight champion.
And Taz is the FTW champion. So cagematch.com called this a title match, so I'm going to call it a title match too. So this is Bam Bam Bigelow versus Taz for the FTW title in a Falls Count Anywhere ECW death match. Yeah.
One thing is to Francine, I wanted to say, I don't know if you guys caught it, and it was earlier in the pay-per-view. She doesn't say much, but earlier in the pay-per-view, she tried to say a couple of things, and they shut her down. Like they were completely nonsensical, nothing to the point of the match. And you could hear the tone in the guys' voices that are actually calling it like shut her down.
Oh no.
And she doesn't say much after that.
She doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I think I heard her speak once and that was about it. So right off the bat, Bam Bam hits a powerbomb right as the bell's ringing. But Taz hops right back up and no-sells it. Clotheslines Bam Bam twice, eventually gets him down. Big Samoan drop by Taz. They go onto the entrance ramp. Taz has the advantage briefly on Bam Bam, and then a boot sends Bam Bam right over the barricade into the crowd on the entrance ramp.
Dude, the front row got some
action on the show. Taz clears a spot and then leaps with a crossbody onto Bam Bam, who catches him and just slams him into the guardrail. Bam Bam slaps Taz in the back of the head, in the back with a chair. They're just right in the crowd. So usually when you see, and it was to the detriment of the camera work in this match, because usually when you see guys like in a wrestle into the crowd, like usually they clear like a very sizable lane. Nope, they were just wrestling like they were making their own path to where they were going, and they were just going through the crowd. The poor cameraman could not keep up with the action here. But they're in the crowd, which must have been awesome if you were there. So they're just fighting here. Taz gets set into a row of chairs, knocks the whole row down for a near fall. They continue to brawl through the crowd. Bam Bam throws a guard, so he throws Taz into the guardrail. Then he like separates one of the pieces, throws that into Taz, who bounces back and does a double leg takedown for a near fall into Bam Bam. And then a little bit later, Bam Bam tries to drive Taz into a chair, but he slips and he falls so hard onto the concrete.
That was brutal.
Oh man, that was bad looking. Poor Bam Bam. And then Taz sinks in the armbar briefly to Bam Bam, but Bam Bam breaks free. A super weak leading chair shot, by the way, to Taz by Bam Bam here for a near fall. I don't know if it was slipping out of his hands or what. He gets a better one in later though. Taz mission is very briefly applied to Bam Bam, but he counters it into a jawbreaker. Taz gets thrown back over the barricade and back to the ringside area.
So when he gets thrown back over the barricade and Bam Bam steps over,
he steps on his head.
He accidentally stomps Taz's face in the concrete, and that's how he busted his eye open.
So Taz is busted open after that. But you get a much better chair shot to Taz's back by Bam Bam at this point. Back in the ring, there's a big powerbomb by Bam Bam. Instead of a pinfall attempt, he goes out and grabs a table, puts it into the ring. Taz gets Irish whipped face first through the table in the corner. That was a cool looking spot. Yeah. There's a Tazplex to Bam Bam through the rest of the table because the other half is set up in the other corner.
He shows people how to recycle, man.
Exactly.
It's good work.
Exactly. I like that. And I noticed here Taz has fresh ink because you can see his tattoo healing. Just a little detail I noticed. It was one of the tattoos on his upper arm. Back on the entrance ramp, Taz hits a tornado DDT to Bam Bam, and then they go right through it.
Through the damn ramp.
Through the entrance ramp. It was really cool. There's an appropriate amount of time passes. You're waiting for somebody to emerge.
Shane Douglas stole the my God spot there.
Both I noticed that.
Both those two were so hot on announcing. It was insane.
It was. So Bam Bam emerges from the ramp first. Taz follows shortly after. Bam Bam doesn't see him. He's kind of walking on the ramp.
He calls for the finish. The throat slice.
Taz sprints, jumps onto Bam Bam's back, sinks in the Taz mission. Bam Bam taps no matter how Shane Douglas sees it. And Taz wins.
For the rope.
Yeah, Taz wins in 13 and a half minutes. So I've got to say, this was like a tale of two halves for me. I was not really into the whole like section when they're going through the crowd, just because you're so limited when you're in the crowd, right?
Yeah,
I've never been a big fan of like crowd brawls. As far as crowd brawls goes, it was a fairly middling effort. But that last section, once they got back into the ring, I loved it. It brought the match up to me. I give it 3 stars.
Yep.
Liked the match a lot. Just I would have liked it a lot more if the crowd brawling. I don't know. I think a lot of it was that since they were brawling directly into the crowd, like it really limited what you could do. So it kind of drug the first half, but everything once they hopped over that barrier to get back to ringside was super fun. I give it 3 stars.
I gave it 3 stars too. I originally had 3.25 down, but I thought it was worse than the RVD tag team match.
Definitely.
Same.
So
one was a brawl.
I moved it down to 3 stars. It was a fun little brawl though, but I thought the going through the entrance ramp was kind of hokey since they had just gone through the ring, like the pay-per-view before, so I thought that was a little dumb that they were doing it again. But it was a pretty good match, and I think Bam Bam Bigelow and Taz both should have had world championship runs for other companies.
It's weird to me that like Bam Bam like at one point main evented WrestleMania when he faced off against LT, and like never really like
when did
gained
LaDainian
attraction.
Tomlinson have a match?
Oh, not that LT.
Lawrence Taylor. Taylor.
Yeah, I would have never known.
And it's weird because like that was the main event spot in that. I don't remember which one it was. I'm guessing 8.
11.
11.
Yeah,
Thank
11,
you.
yeah.
But he never really got like the traction in WCW or ECW. I feel like.
Well, he was
did in
36
WWF.
here.
That was just going to say, that's something I was going to mention. A couple of things here. Bam Bam is a seasoned veteran at this point. Like, not that Shane's any kind of slouch, but Bam Bam's been in this game since the 80s. I mean, when he debuted in WWE and actually had a run against Hogan for a while in the early to mid 80s. And I love, there's a couple of commentary spots on here that I really, really enjoyed. One of them was Styles talking about Finnegan being the referee. He goes, John Finnegan is the referee for this match. The poor bastard.
Right.
And the other one is, I think Shane kind of got a jump on JR because when they fell through the ramp, Shane just loses his mind. They're dead. They're dead.
I loved it. That was a great call.
It was just like, man, he was just losing it.
But he was very animated this whole match anyway because of his interest in the match.
Oh, yeah. And that was actually something in the last match that I thought was really kind of cool that they did, is they said that Shane was taking notes because any one of those 4 guys could be coming for his championship. So I thought that was because he was like dead silent through the Hayabusa match.
Sure.
I gave it 3 stars. It's a great big man match. And I love Taz. Taz is cool and Bigelow is cool. And Taz is, I think he's so interesting because they bill him as this like super fighting machine, knows all these styles of martial arts, and Taz didn't know anything. He just was good enough to pull it off, and just
and he had a good
yeah.
moveset. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I gave this one 3 stars. I mean, you could just tell right away this was a brawl. Like, this wasn't going to be a real technical match or anything. So, yeah, 3 stars. Bam Bam was about 36. Taz was about 30 here. But Taz is so damn good.
I know.
I know Kyle, he can't defend himself now, but he said that it's hokey that they did this same, like they did a similar spot, a pay-per-view later.
Earlier.
What?
The through the ring was before.
I know. I'm saying they did a
yeah.
similar
Oh
spot
yeah,
here.
right. Yeah, gotcha.
And I disagree with that. I feel like, I mean,
thought it was well done.
have you ever seen anyone else go through the ramp ever?
No.
And I think like the first time it physically, like that was the physics behind it, is both bodies, all that weight going in broke the ring. Well, all the weight going into the ramp broke the ramp.
Right.
So like I don't see how it's hokey when it's, just explainable. Anyway, I thought it was super good. I had a great time with it, but it makes me sad that you guys felt that this, or at least Kyle felt that this was comparable to that tag team match as far as a brawl, because while the tag team match did go off the rails, there was so much plancha and so much actual skill related things.
I thought that was a much better match.
I think it was an actual match versus this was a brawl. So.
So after that, I love this. Taz calls out Shane Douglas up in the announce booth, does the classic beat me if you can, survive if I let you. And then Douglas gets so mad, he grabs a monitor and literally throws it down. He might have hit someone with it. I don't even know. Like, there are people down there. And Douglas is just throwing a fit. Taz leaves, and then Douglas and Francine leave, presumably to go after Taz. Back to Styles. I cannot take the cameraman here. He is out of control. This is the worst. Like, he is completely out of control. This is when I mentioned, like, there were times when, like, Styles was, like, barely in frame, and, like, he was like really starting to drift. Essentially, Styles is saying that the Dudleys are disgusting and they're horrible. Let's cut to what happened, and it goes to them breaking Beulah's neck with a 3D. And that's kind of the story that sets up this match. And the Dudleys are, like, the top heels in ECW by far.
Styles really did a good job putting them over.
Real quick, because I think we had mentioned the other slightly off-key entrance music. Considering where Luke, Kyle, and I are going this evening, I really appreciate Taz's entrance not being changed too much, because he comes out to War Machine by Kiss.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. Like, it's so cool to
it's
hear
great.
that for him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree
hey,
with
by the
you
way,
too.
we're going to see Kiss tonight. It's going to be dope.
Yeah, Luke,
Are you excited,
Joe,
Kyle?
and Kyle are going to Kiss tonight.
I am excited.
So that'll be fun for them. Yeah, I agree with you here. Styles, though, did a great job of, like, putting over how much he hates the Dudleys and how, like, disgusting they are.
And it's an ongoing thing, because he does it, like, throughout their tenure in ECW. He hates them and despises them.
Well, they're really good at being
Oh, God, they were great heels.
assholes.
Oh, yeah. So then, Joel Gertner is first. He saunters down to the ring, throttled by the rest of the Dudleys. No music, just the heat of the crowd is what we're going to get
Which
here.
is awesome, actually.
Yep. So eventually, the Dudleys make it to the ring. Bubba cuts a classic promo, putting down the crowd. Not as heated as Heatwave 99, no pun intended, but still draws a lot of heat from the crowd here. And then Gertner takes the mic, pops up
So, you ready?
Yeah.
Also, sign guy is holding a sign that says Mark's Fear Bubba.
Yeah,
so
I saw
kinda
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Joel Gertner is wearing a red neck brace with a bow tie on the neck brace.
That's his style,
which was absolutely hilarious.
Oh, he's so funny.
So Gertner starts out. Is it hot in here, or is it just me? Well, Dayton, Ohio. Amazing where people can live these days. Which is really funny because Heatwave 99 was also in Dayton.
Yeah.
Let's see. It is I, the man your mother warned you about, the man that makes your panties moist, and the only man that matters. Hotter than a heat wave and harder than Chinese algebra. The quintessential stud muffin, myself, Joel. I always leave them sore, yet they keep coming back for more. Gertner. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Gertner, for that. And then they kind of just introduce everybody. They make fun. They have a Beulah. They have a blow-up doll with, like, Beulah's face and, like, the Tommy Dreamer shirt on it. They make fun of that.
And they call it Beulah McGillah Slutty.
Yeah.
So Gertner is actually going to be at CAC this year with Blue Meanie doing a spot on how to get yourself over, basically how to do interviews and things.
That'd be fascinating to sit through.
No kidding.
Because Gertner's great. I do think this whole segment went on a little bit too long.
A lot of too long.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then he introduces everybody one by one. You got Big Dick. You got Sign Guy.
Sign guy who has a torn ACL, a damaged patella tendon, and a ruptured rectum. I mean,
a deviated septum.
I mean, a deviated septum and a kidney stone.
And then who was this? What was the ref's name? Oh, I got it here somewhere.
John Finnegan. No, it wasn't. No, it was.
I got it somewhere.
Something Jones.
Jeff Jones.
Jeff Jones. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Jeff Jones,
Thank you for being
who
active
was a ref and then defected and now is with the Dudley gang here.
And becomes Mike Awesome's manager down the road.
Oh, okay. And then he's the one who's like carrying Beulah McGillisletty, the doll, which that's get some good heat. And then eventually after that, after everyone gets announced, Dreamer, Sandman, and Spike Dudley make their way out. They each carry a ladder. Sandman is already busted open from the beer.
Sandman has a huge ladder. Dreamer has a medium one, and then
Spike has the
a
little
step
tiny ladder.
Yeah.
I love Sandman so much because he looks like he looks like he should be painting a house or like pouring concrete, but like he's wrestling
and
in
this
the
is
nature.
early-
and we should note this is early Sandman because when he comes back in like 99,
He's in much better shape. Yeah.
99 after WCW, it's like they told him, okay, if we hire you, you're gonna lift some damn weights, boy.
So he's like chain smoking his way out to the ring. He's guzzling beer. He's already busted open.
His gut is just hanging.
He's got a huge beer gut here.
I like his shirt.
Oh, that's a good.
it's like a Budweiser Sandman shirt.
That was the ECW, man. They were great. They're creative on their shirts. I'd love to get old school ECW merch. That would be killer.
I love a lot of their merch. I love the classic Team 3D shirt too. So Dreamer pours Dreamer like pours a beer for a fan, hands it to him. Did you guys see this? The poor guy drops it. Like instantly drops the beer and they cut away. And I don't know. This was fun.
And Sandman left a guy hanging. Like he stands over him. He's like, he's got even a sign that says "Pour beer here."
Yeah.
Cracks the beer, looks at the guy, and then just pounds it.
Well, he was drunk, so.
So eventually, we are going to get to this match. It does start literally half.
It takes like 10 minutes.
Half the time slot dedicated to this match. Literally half of it was dedicated to the intros. Eventually, the match does start. It's very cute to me that they're going to pretend like this is going to be a regular tag team match at the beginning because
you know it's going to be havoc. You know it's going to be
It's so
insane.
funny
to the
me.
intros really quick. Here's something you got to understand is that because you don't get it with WWE doing their editing. Sandman's intro was that way because he came out to Enter Sandman by Metallica, and every crowd that he came out with were singing and clapping along with
so
him.
they let like the whole song go.
A big shtick for him.
And people love Sandman here too, obviously.
Full
and Dreamer,
bleed, full
and Spike.
bleed before the match even starts.
Yeah, he's already got color here before the match even starts from the beer can, crushing, of course. We do start with Devon and Dreamer. There's a bunch of dueling roll-up attempts here, and then a top rope.
Sloppy.
Yeah, not too bad, though. We get a top rope draping neckbreaker by Dreamer, and then Bubba comes in, and then Spike is just like rabid. He wants in this match so bad. Tommy tags him. Definitely proves to be a poor idea. Bubba just keeps throwing him all over the place. And then I noticed here, so Spike's like so he ends up getting Bubba in the corner, and Spike goes up top. And I noticed here that you could legitimately put all of Spike Dudley inside Bubba Ray Dudley, and it wouldn't affect Bubba Ray Dudley's size at all. Like he would comfortably fit inside of Bubba.
Like what's this thing on Star Wars? Like a tauntaun?
Yeah. He could like if Spike Dudley had a mech suit, it would be Bubba Dudley. I feel like he could easily
He's just Krang.
Yeah, he could easily fit inside of him.
That's the thing is I loved about Spike is he was just a bumping fool. Like anyone could ragdoll him.
Yep.
And for big guys, he made Awesome look good several times. Made Bam Bam look good several times.
How he didn't like
die?
Yeah,
I know.
Getting thrown into the third row by Bam Bam a couple of times. And Jesus.
So Spike goes for the corner, gets up top, tries for a corner Hurricane Rana, eats a huge powerbomb instead. Then he gets killed with a clothesline. Bubba misses a leg drop, which allows Spike the time to finally hit a Hurricane Rana. And then Big Dick is in here, and then Sandman is in. Big Dick Dudley.
Oh, okay.
And then Sandman comes in. I have so much respect for Sandman for like doing a professional wrestling match after chain smoking, binge drinking, and giving himself a concussion. Like that's like the trifecta of like
how people
bad
die.
things.
And Joe was telling me earlier what he said in an interview. How many times was he sober?
He said like 9 times out of 10 he wasn't sober for his matches.
How is he still alive? Like
I don't know. And
he stopped.
like there's a match with him and Foley as Cactus Jack where Foley accidentally, because he didn't realize what he had, but he wound up getting a cast iron pan from the crowd. Jack Sandman in the head with it, and Sandman is so screwed up that he wouldn't stay down for the 3. Like they were supposed to go home, and Foley's like, "Come on, man!" So Foley stops working on him, and just finally beats the crap out of him and tells him to stay down.
Wow. Sandman's wild. So he's in the match here. He clotheslines Big Dick outside, and then Big Dick pulls Sandman out like instantly.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he does. And then this is when things really start. I knew the second they left the ring.
It got a little hard for me to watch.
I was like, this match, that's it.
This gets ridiculous.
I was like, that's it for this match.
We're going to watch the innuendos here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, his name's Big Dick. That's his name. He's
Is it a little hard for you to watch the match and pull out?
His name's Dick and he's big. There's no innuendo here.
Nope.
So,
I popped for this though.
Man, once Big Dick got Spike outside, things got stiff. That was for you, Joe. So right when they get out of the ring, this is just it's bedlam because things just break down quickly. Everyone starts brawling outside. People are in the crowd. Spike is standing on top of Bubba on the guardrail. Unfortunately, they do not have the production crew or budget to show us everything.
They don't have cameras.
So you miss a lot of stuff here. It's just madness. Big Dick gets sent into the barricade. We're cut back to the ring. Bubba is beating up on Sandman. And then someone is like screaming really loudly, like onto the hot mic. I don't know who it was, but like it was just like bah, bah, bah. I don't know who it was. Did you guys notice that?
Well, yeah, and he kept the same dude kept talking shit to Dreamer.
Yeah. So again, some more hot mic funness there. I think it was a fan. It might have been one of the competitors in the match. I don't know who it was. So Sandman then is in the ring, manages to hit a Frankensteiner onto Bubba, and then
Insane.
Everyone's busted open at this point.
Yeah, so that's what I noticed is all of a sudden everyone's back in the ring, and I was like, wait,
Everyone's
when did
bleeding.
Spike get bloody?
Everyone's
when
bleeding.
Did Devon?
Yeah.
When did Big Dick get bloody?
So there's a very large ladder get set up. The Sandman's ladder gets set up in the ring. Spike climbs to the very top and takes out all of the Dudleys outside of the ring. Devon and Sandman eventually make their way back in.
That was a sweet spot.
That was
Luke
really
and I had a
sweet.
bit of
I like that,
discussion
'cause
about
he got
that
to the
one
absolute top.
because
Oh, here we go.
and
Old
this
school
might
Joe.
get heated right here, and because like I say, I'm old school, but it looked smooth. Like it didn't look contrived. Like how a lot of the guys now will fight and brawl and all of a sudden come together, and then well, now it's the perfect time to jump on them. This was like Spike just noticed, hey, they're beating the shit out of each other. They weren't even looking at him. Like a lot of the guys now, and it's a little intricate thing. But when they get in that fight spot, they look up to try to, they're signaling the guy in the ring. Don't look up. Beat the shit out of the guys that you're fighting with.
That's a good point,
and
actually.
let the guy in the ring do what he's going to do.
Joe doesn't like when choreographed wrestling is choreographed.
It shouldn't look choreographed. I understand.
I do agree with you though. Like some of those team diving spots, like. And I understand that you have to like set up and you have to be in the right position and everything, but sometimes it's like so obvious that they're telegraphing a spot to come.
You can predict where things are going.
But this was a good point. Like they were all just like fighting each other, and
Spike was like, "Hey, I got an opportunity."
Well, Spike's small enough too to like land on everybody without like hurting them.
In my opinion, the reason it looks that way now is because people have found the template for what makes 4-star and 5-star matches.
Yep.
So you're going through. We can slip this here.
Yeah.
We can slip this here. So anyway, I get what you're saying, old man Joe.
I get it. So Devon and Sandman are in the ring. There's a ladder placed on Devon, and then a really scary-looking rolling senton by Sandman onto Devon.
I loved it.
With a ladder on top of him. I did too. And then Sandman gets backdropped out of the ring. All of the Dudleys are back in the ring now, and they're all teaming up on Dreamer. There's a senton to Dreamer with a ladder on top of him by Bubba, which I feel like would hurt Bubba more, but that's okay. And then
it definitely looked like it hurt Bubba more.
Spike shows up to try and help. He kicks Bubba in the dick, and then Acid drops him for a near fall. There's a slide slam onto the ladder by Devon to Spike. Everyone is bloody now. Sandman puts Big Dick in the Tree of Woe, and then Big Dick, and then just leaves him there for a second, goes out to the ring to grab a chair. Chairs just start getting tossed into the ring. Bubba and Devon are also put into the Tree of Woe. Sign Guy gets involved, and which is not smart on his part, and then gets put into the figure four
and
by
he's
Dreamer.
on his crutch. Just in the ring.
I know. And then he gets put into the figure four, and he's gone. And then Jeff Jones gets involved, and the ring is just—it's like a Royal Rumble. The ring is just full of people at this point. Jones gets pile drivered after he pile drives the blow up doll. He eats a real life pile driver by Dreamer, and then now Gertner gets put into the Tree of Woe. Somehow he gets involved. So now you have
3 guys and 4 people in the Tree of Woe.
Bubba, Devon, and Gertner are all in the Tree of Woe with chairs
the
leaning up
math
against them.
doesn't add up here.
So what are we gonna do here? So what you get is you get Dreamer, Spike Dudley, and Sandman, and then the ref is like, fuck it. And all 4 guys...
Wait a minute. Here's the deal, though. Because Jim Molyneux, those guys were dicks to him.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Dudleys have been, there's a history of them just being a dick to Molyneux the whole time.
So he eventually reaches his boiling point. All 4 guys hit basement drop kicks to the chairs, to the guys in the Tree of Woe.
Only in ECW,
I loved it.
Only in ECW.
We get a Dreamer driver to Devon for a near fall, and then a 2-handed chokeslam to Dreamer onto the ladder, which... Dreamer totally was the only person who made contact with the ladder was Big Dick.
Yeah.
And then Spike tries for the acid drop but gets tossed to a table outside. Sandman hits Big Dick in the dick with a kendo stick. And then,
Nice.
The big dick has a dick.
apparently.
Oh.
And then Bubba absolutely murders Sandman with a chair. One of the biggest chair shots I think I've ever seen. But of course, he can't feel anything in his head, so he's fine. Don't worry about it. Bubba gets up on the second rope. He misses a splash. Dreamer DDTs him on the ladder. And then the ref fast counts for the win in 14 and a half minutes. I'm going to get into the post-match first, and then I'll give my rating.
Oh yeah.
So post-match,
it ends just the way 99. No,
the
go ahead.
law of Heatwave pay-per-views apparently is that New Jack has to end the show because in very similar fashion to 99, New Jack runs out with his weapons. They beat everybody up. The show goes off the air with the babyface is standing tall. Honestly, I got to say something. I thought this was the worst match of the show. Honestly.
Me too.
It was.
It was fun.
It was, yeah.
I give it 2.75 stars because it was just there was something about it that just was like okay, but there were some really fun spots in it. I don't know. I loved that Tree of Woe basement drop kicks spot, but 2.75, and then
Excuse me.
what was that? Do you have something to share with the class?
Yeah,
Luke?
actually, I'm going to share it, but after this ad. So you know, on the network, if you hear this shit, that all of a sudden shit's about to go down.
Oh yeah. Once you hear the siren, like the crowd goes crazy. New Jack runs out.
It's just like the whole time. Fucking
Are we
yeah.
going to go? So we're going to grading first and then going into post-match discussion.
You already did post-match.
Okay.
Yeah, I give it 2.75
brought a whole
stars.
damn shopping cart of shit.
2.75 as well. The New Jack music never stopping might be even more annoying to me than Bill Alfonso.
Really?
I
That's-
love
It's so
it.
fucking
So
stupid.
that's
it.
part of his gimmick, and that was part of his
See, it
gimmick when he
doesn't
was
bu- it
in the
doesn't really bug me.
Gangsters. Because when he was in the
bugs the
Gangsters,
shit out of me.
when he was in the Gangsters with Mustafa, that's what they would do: is they'd beat the shit out of Public Enemy or whoever it was to their music. For me, I gave it a 3, and I gotta say, New Jack's got 2 spots that he does when he beats the crap out of everybody with things that I like. One of them he did in this match, which is the stop sign, the mailbox, whatever it is, over the guy's crotch, and then jacking him up with a
With
golf
the
club.
golf club, yep.
The other one is, and he did this later in his career, is he beats the shit out of the guy so that they're prone in the corner, arms, legs wide on the bottom in the corner, and somehow there's a bag that always flies out of his trash can. He'll go unzip the bag and it's a bowling ball.
Oh, yep.
The bowling ball roll into the dick spot is...
He did that in 99, I believe, but he didn't do it here.
Oh yeah.
I love that. And just, New Jack's
right.
so great. Great,
Okay,
great,
so
great.
your dick, Kyle. Finish, please.
Okay. So the match was pretty good. Like I said, I gave it a 2.75. New Jack drives me nuts with his music. I thought the match was a lot of fun, but it wasn't good.
That's a good way to put it.
It
was fun.
I guess we were kind of talking about this the other day that Sandman was really a bad wrestler. He's
terrible.
awful. I love him. He's one of my favorites of all time, but he is bad. And I think Spike Dudley, I'm glad WWE kind of gave him a cruiserweight title run because he was kind of that guy who just did everything asked of him.
He's really,
He
good.
got thrown around like
He was
crazy.
the Mikey Whipwreck of WWF
Yeah.
or WWE for sure.
Dude, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I would argue that.
that's all I had to say.
Okay, Luke, what'd you think?
I gave it 2.5 because like we've all said, but we saw everyone, we saw all the wrestlers in this match and all the people coming out. It's like, no, this is not going to be. First of all, any 6-man tag in ECW is never going to be organized or a match.
No.
It's going to be a brawl. And there were just the reason I gave it 2.5 and not more is the camera angles just didn't cover half of what happened.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
it's like I
true.
felt almost gypped that. Oh, there's 3 people that are bloody. I did not see how they got bloody.
Right, yeah.
But so I missed like a lot of spots, but it was super fun, and that's kind of. You already said like Jack Victory shows up, clocks Dreamer with the guitar and all that, but that's funny to me, Kyle. Like that bothers you so much because I feel like it's hilarious.
Like I think it would have been funny once or twice, but it was to me it was. This is just a comparison. It's not the same at all.
Sure.
But it was like the Damian Sandow, Mizdow stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was super funny at first, but then it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And I'm like, okay, this is just a fucking annoying now.
Maybe I'm easily amused because I also love that. Like
I didn't love it or hate it. I just thought it's kind of what it was.
See,
Like it didn't bother me though.
I like the way Dave Christ does it in Impact way better than the way Mizdow was because Dave Christ only does it in interviews, right? So in interviews, he'll do the same thing Sami Callihan's doing, but in the matches, he's still his own guy. He's not bumping every time the Miz or Sammy bumps.
right, but Dave's gimmick isn't literally to copy everything that Sammy does.
Kind of is though. Like, you know what I mean? Like you've watched Impact more, so you understand kind of how Dave
Contextually,
is.
yeah.
He doesn't mock his partner, but like he does the same expressions and like. when Sammy's like raises his fist in an interview, Dave will do the same thing, and Jake will look at him and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
That's awesome.
But he doesn't do the same stuff in the match.
Sure, I get you. But
So-
I mean, when you're Ms. Dow, like
Right.
when that's
But
yeah, I
when
got you. I
that,
got you.
I thought that was great at first, but then it's just with the New Jack thing, it went too long.
Sure.
Like it's just too much for me.
I got you.
And like putting it in perspective real quick, and I'm just using this guy as an example. If Goldberg's music kept going the whole time Goldberg was smashing people, people would get so fucking irritated.
Yeah, and I will argue that it depended, because sometimes New Jack's music would cut off if the segment went long enough.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
And
This was how they closed the show.
Yes,
too.
exactly. And the other thing is it's a shtick, and we got to keep in mind, even though that ECW now gets a lot more press because WWE owns them and can show this stuff, they were an indie promotion at this point still. This was a pay-per-view, and outside of Philadelphia, they had no cable distribution. They had no television distribution, and that's why they were able to put this kind of product out there, because they had no corporations
Right.
tell them you can't do this.
They could pretty much do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
It's like old school UFC before the rules and regulations kicked in. They did what they wanted to do, because if people bought it on pay-per-view, it wasn't regulated.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's how the
that's
show
how
goes
it
off
goes.
the
It
air.
was fun.
So what do you rate it?
So overall, I liked a lot of the work was just really solid. There was no bad, like no really like boring or uninteresting or bad matches on the card. But there were some little production things that kind of drug it down a little
Well, I'm
bit
sure
for
for
me.
you especially.
I enjoyed Heatwave 99 quite a bit more. I still gave this a
I
B
agree.
just because the wrestling was good. But I feel like there was nothing outside of that, maybe that Mike Awesome and Tanaka match. There was nothing like that I would say you have to watch. A lot of it kind of just happened, and it was fun and it was good, and I don't regret watching it. But yeah, a B, solid B.
I also gave it a solid B. There's nothing bad. There's nothing great. Everything's good. So I would suggest watching it if you're a fan of wrestling, but I probably would never watch this a second time, other than maybe the Mike Awesome match.
That's fair.
Oh, and then Landstorm Jerry Lynn was pretty fun. And
Oh, yeah.
Tank.
Yeah, but I don't think I'd go out of my way to watch that again unless one
Sure.
of them died.
It'll happen eventually. Joe, what'd you think?
Well,
Good
there's only
God.
one. There's only one left, Kyle.
Yeah,
Holy
that's true.
crap.
Of Landstorm and
Jerry Lynn?
Or not
they're-
Jerry Lynn.
They're
Excuse
both.
me. Well, Landstorm didn't wrestle Jerry.
Oh
Lynn.
yeah, somebody said Landstorm.
Oh yeah,
versus
my
Jerry
bad,
Lynn.
my bad. I'm just Incredible and Jerry Lynn. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, I would only
So
watch that if one of
Landstorm
them died.
and Chris Candido
Chris Candido.
was a good one. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, go ahead.
I would.
delirious
I
still.
would. I would say B plus. I like all of these guys. I think at the time, for me as a historian, I take everything into context and the time period, and they were just getting off the ground here and getting media attention. In fact, it's one of the things that drives me nuts, being somebody that likes watching the old school stuff. ECW has such great things that they were doing before they became national. Like the Born to Be Wired pay-per-view, the stuff with Terry Funk, you don't get a lot of that. You get some of it on the old Bloodiest Brawls compilation, but you don't get the feel of what they were trying to do and truly how
Right.
innovative they were, because there's not a lot of it out in WWE. If they're archivist from one archivist to another. If you ever want to release that stuff, I think you'd draw some serious viewers if they were to ever put that on the network.
Well, that and you requested the show, and you're a huge ECW mark, so that would explain why.
Well, yes.
You're a little biased.
I am, but it's because it
But no, I
historically
agree
they're
with you.
so unique.
Yeah,
Right,
there's so
right.
much that I appreciate about old school ECW, which is why I probably overrated like the RVD Sabu match, because that just felt quintessential to me.
What'd you give it?
I gave this pay per view a B.
Nice.
Yeah,
dude.
it was.
Me too.
It was very. Let me go to my comments here. The undercard was just had awesome athleticism and great wrestling. And I think that the co-main and the main event were just brawls and chaos.
Oh, yeah.
But man, there really was some really solid wrestling in here. Just great workers.
I know that's the thing. Like people unfamiliar with ECW will like always like put down the product because it was nothing but like hardcore matches and brawls. But like really like in the few shows we've watched for ECW, like it's been mostly legitimate wrestling with like
Yeah,
a few brawls
and-
at the top of the card.
And then in the main event, or like in the co-main and stuff, they sent the fans home happy and gave them what their bloodthirsty fans want. That was just classic ECW. So
Yeah.
it was good.
On the Best of Bloodiest Brawls, they have the Rey Mysterio Psychosis match, which was the first time in the United States anybody had ever seen those two wrestle, and it gets a little hardcore because they go outside the ring, but they're still pulling lucha spots
Right.
in
Yeah,
parking
it's awesome.
lots, and it's like a 30-minute match, and it's insane, and it's is part and parcel to, for every Sandman, Dreamer, Raven, crucifixion angle, there's Candido and Storm. There's there's the technical aspect of it, and it's weird because they kind of have a similar undercard style to WCW at the time, where you've got the great workers on the undercard, and then you get the Smash Mouth guys at the end.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead, Kyle.
So next week we got St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which I'll run through the card quickly. We got Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon.
Nice.
Mankind versus The Rock, Last Man Standing.
Very nice.
Oh, Stone Cold's in a cage, by the way. Then we have China and Kane versus Triple H and X-Pac.
Okay.
Then we got Val Venus with Ken Shamrock with the greatest wrestler of all time as a special guest referee, Billy Gunn.
Is that with Ryan involved? Is Ryan involved in that?
Ryan
Donahue or Shamrock?
Both.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart versus D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry for the tag belts.
Okay.
Big Boss Man versus Midian. Bob Holly versus
That was great.
Bob Holly versus Al Snow, and
Phineas.
Goldust versus Blue Dust.
Pretty promising, actually.
Goldust versus Blue
The
Dust.
Blue Meanie.
Yeah.
BWO.
So
We'll hope you tune in next week.
I
love
gotta
you.
pee.
All right. Love you guys.